All right, everybody. Representing Team Storm G, it is the Dark Messiah, Skillous. I'm loving it. His glasses were lit up with the reflection of his screen. I guess when he had a white background on the monitor, but now it is he's just sitting in darkness. I'll see if I can get him to turn a light on after this game. Over here on the right side, we've got Kaizi Gaming's Reynor. This should be a banging series. Skillous has really been stepping up his game, bringing in lots of different strategies, and just in general, Nikita is a bubbly young lad. Really enjoys being out at tournaments and kicking lots of ass. But Reynor, of course, stands as one of the most powerful and stable players in the matchup. ZvP, a matchup where he tends to just get a good read on his opponent and roll over him. Reynor also, if he knows his opponent likes to play that turtley EU late game style, much like Dark, Reynor will just throw some crazy stuff at you. He'll see what sticks. He'll be like, yeah, gonna swap into 20 Mutalisks all at once. Yeah, I'll Bane Bust you. I'll smash you with the Ling Flood. He will try those things to avoid a slow, drawn-out game because Reynor does not enjoy slow, drawn-out games. Reynor enjoys fast, movement-paced, action-packed games focused mostly around layer tech units. Yes, he can play late game. Yes, he can do the whole gamut, but definitely a player who does that. Now, Reynor has a big weakness in this matchup, guys, and that's what we call Reynor tech timing. So a Reynor tech timing is where he basically is about 5 minutes late on most upgrades and most of his important tech structures. He's very good at killing people with things, but when he doesn't kill them, especially on this map, I've seen games where he goes Hydra Bane and just doesn't transition for like 8 minutes, and Protosses drag their way back into games where Reynor should have finished it off. Now, some would argue that was hybrid Reynor. That was Reynor who was mixing a lot of his practice time with playing Protoss and giving up some of his Zerg killer instinct because of that, and that's gone now. He got angry after he got eliminated from the GSL in an unceremonious fashion, and he's looking to prove that that was a one-off. Stargate goes down up in the main. I actually really like this wall off because you can wall off with just a gateway and a cybercore, which is going to allow Skillous to go for a nice quick third potentially. I would love to see a double adept pressure as well. He gets, yeah, second chrono. Ooh, all right. I haven't seen much of this, but blocking the third into chronoing to adepts is a perfect way to play. It's such a good way to open. Reynor's going to have to build more Zerglings. He's going to have to move his queens forward and try to make sure he takes as few losses as possible. But I like the fact that Skillous is already putting the pressure on from the start. And you know what? The trick with this, it's not just a big YOLO to do crazy damage, but it is forcing interaction with your opponent and looking for leads. You don't have to overcommit. You can just run away with these adepts if he builds a ton of Zerglings, which he is. He's already on 6, building 4 more. So 10 Zerglings. Notice the work account lead that's being grown right now for Skillous. First Oracle starts up in the main base. Another pylon goes down there, right behind the gases. And these adepts, ooh, thinks about shading in, but does decide to play it careful, at least for now. Drones are still rallying out. That drone actually turns around. That's a good choice for Reynor. He knows that this is still a no man's land, that he hasn't connected. Until this creep tumor from the main works its way down and the hatchery finishes, he cannot keep up with that. First Oracle's going to start coming across the map right now. Skillous ready to take a third base behind this. Now with 10 Zerglings out there, it looks like the Adepts are going to go back and guard the third base from it. Zerglings and Oracle cross paths. Queen's very well positioned, but a quick turnaround from Skillous. Third base now on the way. And that's a good pylon positioning. There's been a lot of players... Well, it's not the best. The Adepts are still a little exposed, but it's good enough. Twilight Council goes down behind it. And I'm not actually sure of what Skillous's favored style is to play from here. We haven't seen as much of the Mass Stalker Zealot lately. When people do play Heavy Stalker, it's often into Psystorm. And then trying to skip the Robotech entirely into Skytoss has been very common. 2 Oracles joining forces. Turns on the laser. Tried to get a lava, but it turned into a drone. So maybe hoping to get that drone as it popped. But, dude, Reynor is just avoiding damage completely. And this is the power of Reynor. His early game is so crisp. If there's ever a Zerg who was, like, not overthinking his strategies, but just thinking, how can I get a little ahead? How can I defend a little better? How can I clean up my play just that tiny little bit? It really is Reynor. That's his attitude to the game. 1, 2, 3 kills. Finally, some good damage comes in, but... Oh, 3 more queens there. Good micro by Skillous. And these Lings could come in and start picking off some of these probes. Surprised that Reynor hasn't had a poke yet. He's got early melee upgrade on the way up against Blink and a single Forge. I do think single Forge is the better style than double Forge. I have strong thoughts on this with Blink Stalkers. I really don't think the armor upgrades pay off that much until much later in the game, at which point you've usually already won or lost the game based on if you could defend your 4th and 5th base. Obviously, they're very good in a long, drawn-out map. But getting there against a player like Reynor is often the issue. Adept does kind of derp out a little bit, runs away from the rest of the units. A good micro from Skillous, and you know what? Skillous hasn't lost a unit yet. It's just one cancelled structure. Stalkers are going to clean up this Overlord. That's going to push Reynor's vision back just to his side of the map. But look at his creep spread. Already going in every direction. And I like this fourth base. Oh, that's kind of creative. You don't normally expect that. Normally the Zerg expands here, but Reynor's going to go down towards the bottom side of the map, at least for now. Baneling Nest is on the way. There's still no Roach Warren, which tells you that this style is vulnerable to, say, a big Archon timing or a Mass Glaive Adept charge, a Mass Glaive Adept attack. Something like that could have potentially killed him in this game. Baneling Nest comes in very late as well, but Reynor's happy to take those risks. He's also got a lot of Lings ready for the backstab. There is a battery, but if he surrounds the battery, Skillous, you gotta react right now! Skillous, oh no! The battery gets surrounded. Looks like he was focusing on, I think he shaded 2 Adepts in and killed some workers. Got 3 drones there. Luckily, he did have recall available. The Oracle turns on its laser beam, but immediately turns it off, realizing those Zerglings aren't going to hang around for very long. This is a situation where these Oracles need to make sure they have extra energy. Uh-oh, more Lings coming on in right now. More Lings coming on in. Zealots warping in as well as Stalkers. Reynor, though, not really getting any big damage. Here we go. Nice multi-prong for Reynor. Cancels the 4th base. He's darting in, he's darting out. Left, right, and center. Mass Zergling style. The problem for Reynor is that he's only even on workers, but now 8 more workers, a Roach-Warren. He's droning that 4th up fully. If he can get some more hatcheries to keep his production up, that's going to be incredible. And Skillous, what's his next tech? Archons, Zealots, and Stalkers. So he's playing a Mass Gateway style. The Archons beef it up a bit compared to just Zealot Stalker, but as Ravagers come in, that could be an issue. Did have a little bit of a spike there. Hopefully that doesn't affect the players. Oracles come in, see the Mass Queen defending that. Still Mass Ling on that side. That's a wall off though. And there is a cannon behind that. With some battery overcharge, you could definitely heal this up. Reynor's still going to try and tear it down. If you disrespect that, you could lose that. 4th base is solid with some Archons and Zealots. They could get surrounded and still killed though. Oh, Skillous, you got to be careful. Reynor doesn't want to risk it. 1 Oracle is almost gone down. They got 3 more kills there. Reynor's on 74 workers. 2nd Evo now kicking in with +1 range upgrade. Coming on in. Reynor's got that 5th base in the north side of the map. And the 4th Nexus there. No +2 started just yet for Skillous. I've got a question. Does he try to kill Reynor? Or is there a next step in a transition? Those gases tell me that Skillous probably wants to play a longer game. I really wonder what that next step is going to be. His Oracle usage has been gaining value. But Reynor is well set up with a 30 supply lead. He's adding Ravagers, or at least Roaches for now. 14 of them with Roach speed. He'll turn most of those into Ravagers eventually. And it's going to be a Robo transition. So, okay, Skillous is actually on 9 gates, going to 12 gates. He's going to just turtle up with gateways, add the Robo tech, get the Observers out. The Oracle's keeping him safe as well. Random stasis traps around the map. Now notice that Reynor, even though he's almost maxed, has not built an infestation pit. No hive on the way. No sign of heading to Lurker Tech, Broodlords, Ultras. It's Ravager Bane or die trying. That's not a great way to play on this map. The infestation pit only goes down now at the 9-minute mark. And keep your eyes on that, because remember what I said earlier at the start of the game about Reynor tech timing? There's a good chance, even when that infestation pit finishes, he forgets to make hive for several minutes. Going for a big attack here. No battery overcharge going down just yet. The units are in. Man, this does not feel like a great attack angle, but with no Psystorm, the Banelings are starting to breach. The Stalkers have to blink back to try and deal with that. The Archons, as they get in there, get very efficient trades. It's only Zerglings on the bottom side. And that there is not a great trade. He's opened a hole in the wall, temporarily at least. More cannons, more batteries going down. Attacking on this map into these tiny choke points seems like a fool's errand. But I've told you that Reynor is stubborn. Reynor does not like playing slow, methodical late games. He's going to try and force the issue here. He is just making billions of Banelings. If this works against Mass Archon with batteries and cannons, I will be very surprised. But you know what? The Archons are a bit far back. Stalkers do need to pull on back. My God! Oh, the Banelings! Oh, my lord, that's a bad trade for Reynor. The battery overcharge, though, wasn't really reaching most of the Archons. A lot of them are getting very damaged. The cannon, though, doing so well. Oh, Banelings in the mineral line! Skillous was a little too slow to pull there. He does lose some probes, but not as many as it could have been. Despite that, Reynor somehow gets so much damage done. Can you believe it? He actually breaches him. Finally, Storm kicks in after that, but I think the real thing is Storm was just too late. because all of his High Templar either died or were forced to morph into Archons, and only then does Skillous defend. Now, it might be enough to survive, but this next wave looks deadly. We've got 6 Roaches, Mass Ling Bane coming through. Reynor is basically just making a supercharged Ling Bane army where he has so much more stuff than the Protoss, and he's shoving it in with reckless abandon. And, man, the supply count doesn't look that good anymore. Especially if more High Templars start gathering Storm energy. I mean, shoving through that choke point into Archons and Storm, even just into Archons is ridiculous. But to Archons and Storm, it's a good snipe for Reynor there. Got an Archon for a pack of Lings. It's always going to be a worthy trade for him, as gas is the main limiting factor for the Protoss. Skillous has recovered his economy so far, but he does need to take a 5th. Remember, Reynor has the 5th. If Reynor could get a 6th base up as well, he'll be able to keep transferring his work, because he hasn't taken one yet. His bases are starting to mine out, so he's building Spores and Spines. Reynor, where does he expand to next? It's hard to secure those corner bases. It's definitely a very important question for him to ask himself. Adrenal Glands and +2 Rangers on the way. So he's gone the Hive Tech, but that Hive Tech, Reynor tech timing I was talking about, guys, he's actually made Adrenal Glands, but he looks like he's showing no sign of making anything else. He feels like, you know what, Skillous has to move out to take a 5th, wait for him to do it, and then smash Ravager Ling Bane into him. He starts Aspire now, but it's an afterthought. Reynor always wants to fight here and now, and the next stage tech is an afterthought. This does give Skillous time. Skillous starting a Fleet Beacon. He's thinking about an air swap of his own. It's a 1 Stargate Fleet Beacon switch, so about the slowest kind of creeping over in that direction you can do. 2nd Stargate and a +1 air weapons on the way. He's got a lot of High Templar. He really needs... Yeah, he's got 6 cannons and a High Templar with Storm on this top side. Man, I would never want to attack that with Ravager Bane. Carapace +1 is even going to start here. And it looks like a Warp Prism with 4 Zealots going to go around the north of the map. He's queued it to go around, so it shouldn't get spotted until it actually gets into the economy of Reynor. Reynor's slowing down here. He's got amazing creep spread. It feels like it's a bit of a Tyrannosaurus or something, where you can see here's the top jaw, and here's the bottom jaw. And of course, the Protoss army is in the middle. Hopefully not foreboding of what's going to be happening in the near future for any Protoss fans out there. Skillous, he's being very careful. Stasis Trap, Storm, Immortal Archon. The Stalkers are kind of venturing out front, but always ready to blink those back. Good Storm, and the Stasis Trap as well means those Banelings almost certainly are screwed, especially if some Stalkers and Archons stand on top of them for when that finishes. Got 36 Banelings, and a bunch of Roaches and Ravagers have been made. Great Aspire now gets made. But this is the classic Reynor scenario I was talking about. His tech is never on time. If he already had Broodlords made, he could kill Skillous right now. But with no Broodlords to help him push in, it is a way better army for Skillous. Let's see if Reynor can make some magic happen with that Reynor micro that we know and love. Archon gets picked off. Skillous is, of course, nowhere near max, whereas Reynor's building 60 Lings instantly. These Stalkers come forward, but Force Fields protect the High Templar. Really wants to get this 5th base. Skillous is starving for money. He's warping in Mass Zealot in the back of Reynor's base. Reynor, does he notice? Yes, he does. Oh, man. Oh, man. He does not care. The Lings will do pretty well. Actually, the Zealots kind of got a bit of a choke point. I don't know how 9 drones went down. Was that in that base or elsewhere? Looks like maybe... Oh, Storm's going down. Okay, it looks like there is not much Storm left in this. Only 1 or 2 Storms. 1 full energy High Templar on the left side, actually. 5th base unable to get up for Skillous. He's got 2 carriers out. Mama's on the way with a 3rd and 4th carrier, but he's not there yet. Reynor is doing a great job, and you've got to look at the income and just say to yourself, that income advantage, the bank advantage is going to pay dividends the longer this goes. If Reynor's got forward creep like this, he can also build Spores right on the front. The Lings do get surrounded a little bit. Oh, those batteries will be going down. Skillous playing super cautiously, perhaps too cautiously. And I'd like to see Skillous push forward. He's got to get rid of this base and get some territory back for himself. Reynor's just doing such a good job of splitting his units up. It's hard for Skillous to push in. And oh no, the High Templar! Banelings kill one of the High Templar. Another one goes down. The Storms aren't really landing. The Lings actually surround and kill most of those units. Skillous missing his Storms is actually huge. He's got a big Zealot run by on the north though. 5, 6 drones go down on that northern base. Not a bad Zealot run by. The Zerglings will clean it up. Remember, with Adrenal Glands +2 melee, they do not bad versus them at all. Carriers are realizing there's nothing that shoots up here, and he can just basically fight the Spore Crawlers. 17 Corruptors come in behind this, though, and that's why these High Templar need to get energy. He needs cannons and batteries on this base to fall back on. Otherwise, the Corruptors can just dive. Now, Skillous has seen the Corruptors. He should be pulling back very soon. He's just clearing up a little bit of extra creep. Skillous still pushing forward. This is a madman's errand. What are you doing, mate? Oh, God, he's gone way too deep. This army's going to get hammered. The High Templar gets surrounded by Ling Bane. Skillous going way too far on creep there. Reynor dives on top, and he will eliminate that army. I feel like Skillous played such a good defensive game, but Reynor is always out there just prancing back and forwards, waiting until you step out of your cell. And the moment you're in that prison corridor, man, he just comes charging at you with his shank in hand. Very well played by Reynor. Well, that was a very nice way to start the series, and he's going on to the Protoss map pick and opening with a 12 pool on a gigantic map. Guys, he gaming's Reynor. He's a dirty boy. I wouldn't be surprised if he does a hatchery with it or something as well. Down here we got Storm G's Skillous. Skillous really is a monster. He's such a good player who's gotten very, very good, but when you face against someone like Reynor, I mean, he's at the very tippity top of the ladder. A world champion and multiple time finalist in the last few years. You know, the fact that Reynor made it to 3 world championships in a row is grand finals, that is kind of insane. Because 2020 he lost to Dark, 2021 he won, 2022 he lost to Serral in a very close series. It's pretty cool to see that that consistency and ascendancy. This drone coming down. And that probe is like, whoa, what are you up to, bro? And sure, he does just go down on location. So Reynor could drone pull behind this, but I very much doubt he will. Looks like just a 12 pull pressure opening to throw Skillous off. Skillous starts a second pylon and a cyber core. He's going to try and do the 1-gate defense. Normally you pull, I think, 3 or 4 probes to help defend with this. And just going up to 10 Zerglings and then going back to drones and a queen. So just a straight up 10 Zergling pressure to mess up Skillous's build. Skillous's defense so far looks perfect. I would say he's over probing right now though. I don't think there's any need to probe above 21 because you really want to get this Nexus down as quickly as possible, and that's more important. Either way, the Zealot is on the way. Does he have enough energy for another Chrono? Not just yet. Oh man, he's not pulling any probes. This is potentially an issue. Okay, second Zealot's out. Gateway's getting low. 300 hit points. Ooh, I mean, 2 Zealots can beat a lot of Zerglings, but if they get fully surrounded, they will struggle. Oh, he's going to just trade with the Zerglings. I don't know about this for Skillous. I feel like Skillous should have pulled some probes out here as well. The Adept is going to get out. Oh, no, 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 no! The Adept, if the Adept doesn't pop, he loses this game. Oh, no! Oh, my lord. A fraction of a second too greedy. Oh, no. Oh, the wall off just was a bit too awkward. I'm going to show you guys what went wrong there. Oh, let me point out exactly what went wrong there. Okay, so basically the building placement was wrong. So the pylon was fine, but he needed to build the cyber core here. Now, it wouldn't have been a great choke point. The reason why that's better than this is because you need the choke point to be next to the gateway. Otherwise, we saw what happens. If the choke point's up here, you can't go out and fight unless you pull 3 or 4 probes with the Zealots, which is what Skillous needed to do here. Skillous needed to drop the 2 Chronos on the Zealots and pull 3 or 4 probes to help buffer for those Zealots. And if you lose 1 or 2 fighting, that's fine, as long as you cannot lose the gateway, usually. But losing the gateway before the Adept is 100% GG. So, damn, what a vicious victory for Reynor. I feel like there's so many things that should be abusable in the way he played Data C. And yet, you know what? Just tears him down. That was lovely. Really exceptional play. The Zealot, if the Zealot's next to the gateway, you just can only attack it with like 1 or 2 Zerglings at most. It's a very different story. Yeah, they could work on the pylon then, but I don't think that's as big a concern. Losing the gateway is GG, man. Let's just very quickly. That was like, it was like a fraction of a second. Look at that bar. Look at that bar right as it's finishing. Can't believe how close that was. Oh, it's painful. GG's.